Welcome to Trash Talk.
Well, welcome to another episode of Trash Talk here at the Landfill Group, where we talk everything biogas, from culture to systems to technology to safety. Really excited today to have what I consider a really good friend of mine, Clint Cox with Liberty Utilities, specifically Peach State Natural Gas here in Columbus, Georgia.
Exactly. Yeah.
So welcome to Trash Talk.
Thanks.
Appreciate you taking the time out of your day to come chat with us.
Pleasure.
I think topic today I wanted to talk about was really a couple of things. You and I have been at this for a number of years at this point to try and get a renewable natural gas facility up and operational here in Columbus, Georgia. I think the main topic for today would be, LDC, local distribution company, and RNG. From your perspective and our perspective, like how we got to where we're at today. It hasn't been an easy road.
No, for certain it has not. It's taken unexpectedly long time to get here. But I think part of that was we were starting from a blank slate in Georgia. There just weren't enough new renewable natural gas projects that were bringing the gas onto the distribution system and going to like residential burner tips. There were other projects that were kind of direct brown gas lines to facilities that were using that gas and were designed to accept non-pipeline quality gas. And so there was some familiarity with that. But for us, it was about a lot of education with the Public Utility Commission to help them understand how we could reduce the risk and capture this waste stream that we could turn into a usable energy source to the benefit of our customers.
And so I would say also, I think we were overly optimistic and aggressive in the beginning when we first began conversations about what we do and what we'd like to, how we'd like to interact and really partner with Liberty and Peach State here.
Yep.
There was some really, I would say, unique and progressive things that we things
Yep.
Initially.
Yep. Go big and then see where we
and then
see where we can land. Yeah, we definitely went, I think, creative and big, and in our minds it was for the benefit of our customers, for the benefit of our distribution system. Something new like this, there's always the risk avoidance piece of it that you have to get by. And we thought we had some pretty good strategies that would mitigate risk down to the lowest possible level. And that's really what we tried to do.
Yeah.
I mean, we wanted to buy the renewable natural gas with the environmental attributes attached to it. And that kind of strategy was kind of our going in bid. We wanted to have that as an option for our customers as a pass-through cost for them to gain title to those environmental attributes for their carbon reduction strategies.
Yeah, I think when we initially put our agreement together, I'm not aware of or wasn't at the time that any other LDC in the country or RNG developer had an arrangement, whereas we were interconnecting with a local distribution company, and they would take both the physical gas and the environmental attributes associated with it.
That was what we were trying to do. We thought there was an opportunity for us to be able to sell a portion of that gas with the environmental attributes to the customers that wanted it, that opted in for it, and then monetize the environmental attribute balance, kind of put it into a holding account or a deferral account to offset any fluctuations in the market for a period of time, and then to be able to hold those monies kind of in escrow in order to do other project work that maybe the Public Service Commission wanted us to do, system expansions into places that don't currently have natural gas, or do system improvements. We thought it was progressive, but ultimately
it was aggressive.
Yeah, it was aggressive. It was progressive, we thought, and we thought it would bring the greatest benefit. And there's been LDCs that have done something similar to this now.
Yeah.
Virginia Roanoke Gas has a very similar strategy that they were able to progress further than we were able to do here. But in the end, for us, this project was really about resilience for our system. This is locally sourced gas in Georgia from a waste stream that we're able to bring on the system that is dedicated to our Columbus users. Yeah. And that resilience, you can't get it another way. All of Georgia's natural gas utilities is reliant on Texas, Oklahoma, out of state gas moving through interstate pipelines. This gas is dedicated to Columbus, Georgia and our customers, and at a benefit to all of them.
Yeah.
At a downward pressure on our rates. There's just a lot of goodness that is where we ended up.
Fortune favors the bold. We were bold in the beginning. And I think this is really where I developed a super high level of respect for not only you, but the Liberty and Peach State organization in its entirety. Was, we had this great idea, we had this great plan, and we're basically aligned in how this transaction would work between us and at the Landfill Group and Liberty, and buying gas and interconnecting with your facility. And so we're headed down that path, and all of a sudden the rug gets pulled out from under us. I would see a lot of people in your position at a natural gas utility at that point take that as the Mike tried.
It's a great idea.
Happy trails.
Yeah.
And so then you don't have that locally sourced gas and resource being utilized. We were a year and a half or 2 years into trying to put this together. And then you mentioned the education piece. So maybe kind of walk through, okay, what was the next step? What do we do after that? Or what did Clint do specifically after that?
Well, for us, it started with getting the Public Service Commission and the staff with the Public Service Commission comfortable with the quality of the gas, that there should be no concern about that, right? We have renewable natural gas quality standards that the Landfill Group and the Columbus Power Producers approved and said, yes, we can meet that standard of quality of gas, which is basically exactly the same quality.
Interchangeable with natural gas.
Interchangeable with natural gas, fossil natural gas.
And I will take this opportunity to interject that 99.9% of the time, renewable natural gas is far cleaner and scrutinized than 100%. What you get from geologic.
And the carbon intensity of it is almost half, even coming from the landfill, right? That's why we were stuck together. That's why I didn't walk away from you, was this has a benefit for Columbus that most residents don't even understand, frankly. But it is a significant environmental benefit, and it just needed to get flushed out. And we never got to a hard no. You all stuck with us. We stuck with you, just to figure out a way to get to yes on this project that was beneficial for Liberty, beneficial for Columbus Power Producers and the Landfill Group, and beneficial to the Columbus community that we serve.
Yeah. And so you went on that educational, I will call it, journey.
Yeah, brought in third-party testimony and other people to certify that our gas specifications were of pipeline quality. It was going to do nothing to hinder the system. It was the same or better gas than what we were getting off of the interstate.
We go down that educational path with the Public Service Commission, and it always starts with, what are you talking about? Landfill gas to RNG. What are these things?
Yes,
because most people the landfill is something that's on the edge of town. They never see
Nobody
it.
Thinks about it.
They know there's a trash truck that comes in front of their house on a weekly basis and picks up the garbage, and it's gone. Out of sight, out of mind. So how was that initially received? Because you really spearheaded all of that effort.
Not just me, but our regulatory team. We had it was a team effort on our part to do that education and get the commissioners comfortable with what we were trying to accomplish here. And we had some champions out of the commissioners that were familiar with renewable natural gas. They understood the potential of it and the benefits to the environment and the benefits to the customer. So once we were able to educate and everybody was on the same sheet of music about the quality of the gas, that it was better, if not the same, as what we were bringing to the burner tips. Currently, it wasn't going to impact our system or cause any out-year challenges. Once everybody was on the same sheet of music with that, it was really just about the structure of how we were going to do it. And where we ended up was basically taking a tariff that we already use, which is our transportation tariff, delivering gas to a customer, and reversing it. Flipping it around, putting a price point on a volumetric load from you as our new customer, but delivering gas the opposite direction onto the system, with our option to be able to buy the molecules, just the methane portion of it, not the environmental attributes. Just buy the methane to be able to deliver to our customers. That would be dedicated here. And from a resilience, that was what I was saying, this project ends up being environmental and resilience from a Liberty standpoint. Having, the 200 to 300,000 decatherms a year of methane from that landfill cleaned up and brought to our customers here in Columbus, That resilience offsets fluctuations in availability off the interstate pipeline, fluctuations in pricing. It's just set and delivered right here to them. That's a big deal for us.
I think there's also a component that we put together in this structure that's really important for the Liberty customers to understand is it's the lowest cost gas.
Lowest cost gas that we will buy always. And that was part of that tariff when we built the tariff. That was part of the negotiations with the Public Service Commission to make sure that they understood the benefits to our customers and what we were trying to accomplish. And so, yes, this landfill sourced, what we call in our tariff, locally sourced conforming natural gas will always be least cost to our customers. So downward pressure on our customer rates, that's always something that we're seeking to do. And this gas is committed to doing exactly that in perpetuity.
Yeah.
So we'll never stop making trash and throwing it on that landfill, and there will never not be some methane coming off of it until that landfill is closed, which is a long way away. So
that's what makes it renewable, right? It's
right.
Constantly being renewed. And I think, in a lot of cases, there's a misconception that, a green or a renewable resource is always going to be just so costly and so burdensome to the end users of the energy. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about this relationship here in Columbus is it's the exact opposite of that.
Right.
Locally, you get the economic impact of us employing people in a large construction project and operations. And then, in the end, it's reducing emissions into the atmosphere from the landfill and utilizing them for good at lowest cost. So
Exactly.
I can't thank you enough for seeing this through because it has been since.
Same to you, Mike. You all stuck with us when we hit plenty of roadblocks to include a pandemic that kind of slowed things down. But the reality is you all stuck through it. We figured out the path, and we're in just a great place that is good for Columbus power producers, good for Liberty, and good for our customers, and good for the city, who's been a big partner in this as well.
I remember many a days in conversations with you, and we I'm wandering around either in my backyard or in the office, or just because I needed to walk while we were talking because you and I were like, okay, well, we just got kicked in the face.
Yeah.
How do we make
regroup?
This? How do we actually make this
regroup?
Happen?
Yep.
As far as nuts and bolts and mechanicals of our arrangement, maybe we talk about as a part of that tariff, it also provided you the opportunity to make an investment in infrastructure to get that lowest cost gas into your system.
Yep.
Kind of maybe run us through what that looked like.
Yeah. So the critical part of our integration into this project is an interconnection skid or an interconnection facility that we have on your site that allows us to meter, measure, check, make sure that gas is within those specifications that are approved by the Public Service Commission, and then odorize that gas before we inject it onto the system. So that facility is not inexpensive by any means. For those that are in the gas industry, it is the equivalent of a city gate for a local distribution company. You have the same capabilities in there with the addition of some
city gate being gas being taken
where you take it off of the interstate or intrastate pipeline, where you take that gas typically is not odorized, for example. We take care of the odorization, reduce the pressure down to what the system requires, and then move it. Same thing we do in our facility on your site for this project, exactly the same capabilities and then some, because we actually have to check the gas specifications. So for us, that component, we wanted the ability to invest to help the developer, in this case, Columbus Power Producers. We wanted to help offset some of those costs by making capital investment towards this project to help you and allow us to earn on recovering of that capital investment during our required or our permitted period of recovery, which is 7 years here for us in Georgia. Now, we do that based on the volumetric flow under the tariff. So we have to, every molecule of gas that you push or every cubic foot of gas that you push through our interconnection skid, you're paying us a toll basically on that, a transportation fee through that interconnection skid. That volumetrically will pay for that within our 7-year requirement. And that was the way we set up in the tariff. It's basically the exact same way. If we're going to run pipe to a new customer under our transportation tariff, it's set up the same way.
Same way.
And this is kind of part of the successful strategy that we ended up on with the Public Service Commission. Is we got away from the complexity and the newness and kind of relied on what already existed and basically flipped that tariff around to be able to accomplish this. So it allowed us to make capital investment based on the volumes from the landfill. It didn't cover everything, but it reduced any contributions in aid of construction costs that we would have had to pass to you significantly. And it allows us to have a facility on site with you, co-located, and it allows us to make that investment and help move the project forward.
Yeah. And so I'll summarize that by saying Liberty built maybe a 1/4-mile pipeline from one of your main runs to our site at the landfill, and then put the metering and monitoring measurement right on site. And so I think a lot of people there will say, well, wait a minute, why is the utility making this investment? And now you're telling me this is lowest cost gas, but really we're paying.
One customer is paying for it
with a margin. It's sitting in your role in your seat, a natural gas utility. If you were speaking to your peer or counterpart at another utility in a similar position, and they got approached by somebody like us at the landfill group, what kind of advice could you give them?
Well, number one, if you don't already have renewable natural gas specifications for your company, get them approved by the commission. That's kind of step one. Make sure they are on board with the quality of gas from fossil fuels coming through the interstate. They understand what that specification looks like, and then look at this specification for the renewable natural gas, depending on what the feedstock is. Make sure they're on board with that. That's like step one. Once you've got that approved, then after this long journey, to me it is very clear: keep it simple. Stupid. It was an Army acronym. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid. So keep it as simple as possible to help the commission get on board and understand what you're trying to do and the benefits of it. Ultimately, us leveraging an existing tariff and the structures behind that tariff as similar as possible to achieve the developer being able to bring this locally sourced conforming gas onto our system. That's the quickest path to success, clearly. There may be some progressive public service commissions in other locations that may enable something more like where we tried to go. And clearly we've seen that now in Virginia, where there's examples of utilities being able to make a stronger capital investment and be able to participate in the environmental attributes associated with the gas from a renewable source.
And I think probably, would you agree, is, get outside of your comfort zone, get some comfort outside of your comfort zone, and be
a career infantry guy that joins a utility company doing business development and learning as we're flying into what renewable natural gas is. Because the challenge for me was diversify our gas portfolio with renewable fuels.
You're probably sitting there saying,
go to school. Time to go to school.
What do you mean
engineers. Join all the renewable natural gas coalition and start getting educated on it. Lucky for us, you were already here, kind of looking around at the opportunity that made that collaboration much easier. But seeking other opportunities, getting to know folks like the landfill group, right? And where are you going next? Are we there? Is Liberty anywhere close where we can be a participant? Building a network of people that operate in this environment, takes some time, but it's definitely a learning curve.
It's a journey, as they say.
It's a journey. It is a journey. We're stating that really without the renewable fuel standards and the federal renewable efforts to facilitate those waste and energy projects, without the renewable fuel standards and the LCFS,
it makes it really hard.
It makes it very hard to finance and gather the investors into these projects. I mean, that's critical.
I'm going to date myself a little bit here. So I've been in the landfill gas to energy space it's hard to say it, over 2 decades now. I remember there was a day renewable natural gas did not exist.
Exactly.
back in the day, it was called high BTU gas. And, very, very difficult to be able to capture and, supply that into a marketplace. And so I agree. The steps that Congress and legislatures have put together to create this market really, really is doing its job.
Yeah, for the benefit of everybody. Not just financial for customers, but for our environment. This is it's important.
I was talking to Drill Short, the director of public works here at Columbus, before you got here today, and we were talking about we only have one Earth, and we really need to take care of that Earth in a economic and socially acceptable way. And I think this is just a perfect example of doing that, taking all waste that is often forgotten and doing something beneficial with it.
Couldn't agree more.
You guys at Liberty are a huge part of it. So
thanks.
Is there any other topics or things that you had on your mind you want to talk about today?
No, I think that's we need more of these kind of projects. And there's certainly plenty of landfills around. And I know you guys are looking at as many as possible. So,
well, if there was more Clint Cox running around in the world, there would be a heck of a lot.
If Liberty's close, call me. If we're close by, call me.
You'll be my first call, regardless of you being close or not. So, well, Clint, can't tell you again enough. Appreciate you taking the time to come visit with us and chat about RNG and an LDC environment, like what were the pitfalls and how we got to where we are here today. I think it's we're late into February of 2026 at this point, and over the next 4 months we'll be
moving
we'll be as one of our site operators likes to say, slanging gas.
That's excellent. We're excited
soon. We're excited and really excited about it, and just appreciate not only the support from you and your team, but everybody in the Columbus area. It's been a real pleasure to be in this area.
It's a great partnership. And that's the only way we're here.
Yeah. So with that, thank you everybody for tuning in to another episode of Trash Talk. Subscribe, wherever you get your podcasts. Please spread the word. Hopefully, again, entertaining, enlightening, maybe a learning experience. And Clint, man, thanks again.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate you.